there, I hope you're well today. Thank you so much for making time to watch this video today. And my thinking is, if you are actually here, then you are thinking of how can I get financial freedom? How can I make a little bit more extra income? How can I multiply my streams of income? And I am such a believer in having multiple streams of income. So today's topic, top 10 side hustles of 2021. And of course, a side hustle is a word that all of us are familiar with or must be familiar with. And it's basically having another thing that you're doing apart from your 9 to 5 that will give you financial freedom. I've always believed in side hustles from the time I was in employment. And now, even as I continue to speak with entrepreneurs, they're also saying, I need to do something extra beyond my 9 to 5. And all of us are in that space, whether your income is subpar or is at a certain level. We want just a little bit more extra to allow us to do things. Sometimes we have enough or just enough to leave, but you want a little bit more extra just to even invest. And sometimes our current income or our 9 to 5 is not able to give us all that. And of course, there's debt as well that we all take either to, develop a property. Sometimes there's a need that we have to take a debt for. And savings. We talk about savings. Some say this is how much you're supposed to save in terms of percentage of your income per month. But sometimes it's very difficult. And this is where a side hustle comes in. It'll give you that financial freedom, add in some extra income for you, and to enable you just get onto the next space of your personal finance. So before I get into it, just very quickly, these are the 3 criteria that you need to think of. First of all, what potential does this side hustle have? If it has a potential to earn you high amount of money, then that's the right one. You also think of is it flexible? Does it allow you to still do your 9 to 5 and still give time to do the side hustle? Because the term side hustle means exactly that. You should be able to perform your 9 to 5 without interference and without overthinking or exerting your energy into the side hustle. So think of it as some sort of passive way in that particular way, but it should not interfere with what you do between your 9 to 5, which is where you earn the majority of your income. And then, can it grow? Is it scalable? Can it grow? And if it cannot grow, drop it immediately. If you're seeing there's a potential to actually sometimes even allow you to leave your 9 to 5 and get into that space, because some people have actually done that. I have done that in my career as well. So we need to constantly think, is this something that I can actually leave my job for at some point? So if it's not scalable, then think twice. If it is scalable, then it is definitely something that you must think about. And also, just as a side note, avoid side hustles that require a big upfront, financial investment. A side hustle should start small, and that's the beauty of it. So you're not thinking of putting in a lot of money in your side hustle. No, just start small and let it grow from there. So I'll quickly go in, and the first one is especially for those who have a flair for writing. You're a talented creative writer. This could be, anybody who is just proficient in writing. Your writing is flawless. You have a way with words, and you've perhaps even always had that. You wrote the best compositions in school. Maybe in college, people praise you for your writing. Resume writing is such a big deal now. I remember I think 2 years ago, I was applying for something, and I hadn't updated my CV for a while, and I was talking to somebody who was helping me with this application, and he said, why don't I do your CV for you, and it's going to cost you 5,000 shillings. And I was like, oh wow, okay. And let me tell you, what he came up with was spectacular. I would never have been able to actually do my CV in that way. And yes, it was 5,000 bob, but it was amazing, and it was so well done. I'm so proud of my CV now. I'm so happy to share it around because it's been done with so much care and attention and somebody who just really knows how to do that. Another one, still within the same space of resume writing, is on the LinkedIn space. I mean, all of us, especially if you are in a career or an entrepreneur, you must have a LinkedIn profile. How does your LinkedIn profile look? And sometimes we may be too busy to actually really think of how to put your LinkedIn profile in a way that is attractive to potential clients, potential customers, potential partners, potential employers, for those of you who are in that space. So there are people out there who actually do it, and why not you? If you are well talented, remember, even just do that on your LinkedIn and say, I can also do this for you. So that's one. That's a resume writer and LinkedIn profile editor. Number two, this is another one that I've thought about actually before. I've not done it myself, but I've seen people do it. And this is buying something in bulk and selling in retail. And this could be anything. It could be moya rice. It could be ndengu. It could be beans. It could be anything. And especially these things that, just offer convenience, you could buy in bulk, supply within your neighborhood. If you live in an apartment, take around a note and tell people, hey, by the way, I sell grains, or I sell rice, or I sell this at X amount. And you will be surprised, even with a markup of, let's say, 100 shillings per bag, you would actually make a lot of money because you don't have a shop, you don't have, all these things that some of the big businesses require. So think through, what can I buy in bulk and sell in retail? And you know what? That's what everybody does in the retail space. The supermarkets, the big stores, they all buy in bulk, they break it down, and they sell it, right? So think of it as a side hustle as well in 2021. And you could really look around your space. So you're not thinking of how far is my market. Look at your nearest market as the people around you. The office, the at home, the gym. And these are things that you can easily say, hey, by the way, if you're driving and say, I've got some rice in my boot, and you develop constant and loyal customers. So that's a really big one as well. Number three is something I've seen my sister do, Cherop, who lives in Kisumu. She just started baking. Her husband was ill at the time. She left her job so she can also just help take care of him. And she started baking in the house, telling her friends, posting on Facebook, and today she actually makes a living, pays her children's fees from the baking. And of course, as an entrepreneur, she also has other streams of income, but this one is really, really big. So baking is big. There's bakers clubs everywhere, Nairobi, Kisumu, Nakuru, Kitale. So wherever you're from, just look at what the needs are around you. Is it bread? During the last year, during the pandemic, when it hit, I remember thinking, I need to start making bread at home, because every time I went to buy in the supermarket, it would last like 2 days, and then it's molded. And I realize now that, what if I started baking and just supplying within? And you can bake in your house, even just with your neighbors, put a little markup, and imagine if you're even making 1,000 or 2,000 shillings a day, how much that will end up at the end of the month. So that's a really big one. And it could be anything. It could be cookies, it could be biscuits, it could be bread. I would suggest something that houses have on a daily basis, so that means you can have a customer every day, and you never know, you might even eventually end up opening a commercial bakery. Another one, which I saw actually, I have seen over the last couple of years, if you love to cook, there's such a big market for food, especially in offices. And packaging and food, the margins in food is amazing, and you can ask any hotelier, they'll tell you that. Because you'll just buy your rice, you buy your veggies, either greens or cabbages, you buy your meats, peas, carrots, etc., and have a menu throughout the week. And you don't have to start big. You can say, I'll start by selling a meal at 120 or 100 shillings, and trust me, the margins are really, really good. And you can try with 2 kilograms of rice to start with, maybe 1 kilogram of meat, some peas, and then talk to friends around and find out, how do you have Where do you get your food from in the office? Can I be supplying the food for you? And you can also work with the people in your building and just tell them, I supply food. And that has always been a big side hustle. And I've seen people who have actually left their jobs to focus on catering full time. So another one, which is basically for those of you who have expertise in a particular space, and now there's so many workshops that people are looking to attending. Everyone is looking for knowledge in one thing or another, and it could be anything. My friend Bida, for instance, does training on how to invest, either in stocks or in bonds. And she basically goes online and charges a small fee. And that is something I really think is a great way of earning some extra income. And it takes almost nothing, maybe just some internet bundles and paying for your, either Zoom or whatever other method that you decide to carry your online workshops. Because if you're an expert and you have valuable life lessons, you have tips and tricks that people can take up and can learn from, be it personal finance, be it could be anything really in your field. It could be how to file for taxes. It could be how to dress better. It could be anything. It could be how to gain confidence. It could be conversation or speaking classes, and just charge a little bit. And it doesn't have to be much. It could be 500, it could be 1,000. And let's say you get, 5-10 people a week. If you're charging 1,000, that means you have an extra 5,000 shillings a week. So that is another one that you can really, really think about as well. And then this one, rent out or a spare room in your house. You can either do that via Airbnb, or you can get somebody to actually come and live there. And the reason I think this one is big is because depending on where you live, there's always a demand for space. If you have an SQ, I know there's many people who use their SQ as a store, yet you may be able to earn, from the SQ about, depending on the size of it, it could be anything from 5,000 shillings to 25 or 30,000 shillings, depending on what you've put on offer. And and imagine what that can do to your income. If you say, I'll not touch the money that comes from the SQ and I'll put it into a treasury bill or a treasury bond that will earn you, let's say 9% per annum or 10% or whatever it is. Imagine just the discipline of learning how to save and not touching that money will do for you. And it could, or even open a SACCO account, for instance, and put that money there. So if you do have a spare room in your house, or a seventh quarter, lease it out. Don't waste that space. Yet it could, provide for you an extra source of income. This one I really like. That's number 8. Refurbishing and selling used furniture. I really love to walk around the thrift stores, especially these ex-UK thrift stores. You can find some really beautiful things that might just need a touch of love. It could be a stool, it could be a chair that just needs a bit of upholstering, and it's so different and they're so beautiful. And they're cheap. That's another thing. So if you've got an eye for design, begin to look at these thrift stores. What can you give a bit of love, and that will really put out on Facebook, and you never know how much that can bring for you. And that is nice actually, because the startup costs for something like that is quite small, but it can actually grow into a big business. You might even end up actually now making furniture or all these pieces by yourself. That's a big one, because people are always looking for furniture, changing their furniture, touching up things. And where we are now in Kenya, I see that there's a lot of, you remember there's a time we all used to live in houses as we found them. We didn't touch the walls, we didn't paint any color, we didn't pay any attention to the interior design. But now we're getting more and more personal with the spaces that we live in. So refurbishing and reselling used furniture, or just thrift households that you find in these spaces, can really be a great side hustle as well. And then number 9, start consulting. Whatever it is that you've done, maybe over 2-3 years, and whatever you studied in school, that is amazing experience. And even if you are fully employed and you don't want to do too many things, you can consult. You can offer your experiences and your skills, because that will always be sellable. You always find somebody who needs that, who needs your experience, who needs to learn something that you already know. So start thinking of it. How can you set up a small consultancy and look around you to see who might need it, but also post it in places where other people who might need your services will be. And that's another way I've actually seen people doing when they want to transition into self-employment. So they just start consulting and then moving into their setting up their own business. This is another interesting one, selling snacks to coworkers. Let's think about it like this. At 10 o'clock, it's break time. Maybe the office will offer some tea or some hot water. Let's say tea or hot chocolate or whatever. So you can buy biscuits, maybe the ones that come in packs of 4, and you can sell it for an amount of something. Or you can bring cookies and do the same. I've seen somebody in an office I worked before who actually used to sell as noodles. So she would buy in bulk, and at lunchtime, if you didn't carry on food or you just don't want to go out to get some food because of the hassle and what it takes, so she actually used to bring that to work, and then we would buy from her. So that's another one as well. Look around your office and see what do people need, and be the one to provide that. So that's number 10, and those are the top 10 side hustles of 2021. And of course, the list is not conclusive. There's so much more, and I want to ask you, if you do have an idea, sharing is caring. Just put it in the comment section for somebody else to pick, for somebody else to pick. So thank you so much, and that's how we wind up today's video. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I am also waiting to hear your comments, and if you have started a side hustle this year, do tell us about it. Cheerio!